Assalamu alaikum everyone. I saw there will be. Walaikum salam. MA edits. What's the MA for? Walaikum salam, Elon Musk. Good to have you with us. क्या हाल चाल है आप लोगों के? I'm good. I'm good. How are you? Shout out दे दें सर फिर मैं जाऊं. All right, shout out to you. Does your camera follow you? No, not anymore. Sadly, that camera stopped working. It's a pretty cool one. This one doesn't follow me. Walaikum salam. I'm good. I'm good. Okay, so let's start, shall we? Acha, by the way, before I start, a couple of things that I want to mention. One is that you can download the notes if you want. Okay, you'll find the notes in the description. And number two, you will also find an unsolved PDF of what I'm doing today in the description. Okay, you'll find it in the same folder. All right, so let's start, shall we? Today, inshallah, we're going to do past paper questions of APGP. Okay. So before I start, as always, I'd appreciate if you guys would just like this video and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. Sir, which is the most important topic in P1? Okay, that's a tough question to answer. All topics are important, but pay more attention to differentiation, integration, trigonometry. Okay, because these topics have a lot of subtopics, which is why they have a lot of marks. All right, okay. But if there's no topic that you can skip, services students can use these notes for AdMaths as well. Yeah, of course, you can use these notes for AdMaths as well. Okay. It's more or less the same. It's just that the difficulty level of the questions, you will notice, is much higher compared to in AS Math is much higher compared to AdMaths. Okay, so let's start. Here's a question. It's from May June 22, paper 1, variant 2. It's a very recent question. Walaikum salam, Rehan. Yeah, I missed live streaming as well, but we're back now. Okay, so remember APGP is all about formulas. Okay, so you got to make sure you have all the formulas memorized. And yes, I know at this point you might argue that formulas are given. Even though formulas are given, it's always a good idea to have them memorized. Okay, just so that you don't have to do a lot of back and forth. Okay. So the first time you read a question, like I'm going to solve this question, and I'll share a couple of tricks as well. The first time you're reading a question of APGP, you're reading it to identify whether it's an arithmetic progression or a geometric progression, okay? Once you've read that, then you're going to read it again to see what it is of the progression that you're given. So like for example, it says here the second and third terms of a geometric progression. So immediately we know that we're talking about a geometric progression. So that means now I'm thinking about all the formulas related to geometric progression, such as the required term, the sum to infinity, all that stuff, okay? So we're given the second and the third terms are 10 and 8 respectively. Now, since we're only talking about the second and the third term, you know, if we write down the terms of a geometric progression, it's A, the first term, AR, the second, and AR square, the third term. So any trick for solving hard proving questions? Just be patient, okay? No tricks as such. Just make sure you're not you have all the concepts together. You're reading the question carefully, and you're not missing out on some key information. Okay. All right, so this is what we know. So we know what the second term is, we know what the third term is. So let's write that down. We can see that the second term is equal to 10, and we can see that the third term is equal to 8. All right. Now, what can I do? Here's what I can do. If the second term is 10, that means AR equals to 10. All right. If the third term is 8, that means AR squared is equals to 8. Okay, so you can see that we have two equations which we are now going to solve simultaneously in order to find out the value of A and the value of R. Now, like I said, this is a fairly easy question, okay, which is why I've highlighted this question in green. So let's solve and see what's what. So here we go. Let's make A the subject. A is equals to 10 upon R. Let's plug it in over here. So 10 upon R into R square equals to 8. All right, now let's see what's next. So we have R, which is equal to, so this cancels out, the R from the denominator cancels out, and the square of R square reduces to R power 1 is equals to 8 upon 10. You can write it in decimal form. So R is equals to 0.8. All right, now let's find out the first term. How can I find out the first term? You can go back, use this. Basically, we're finding out A now. 10 over 0.8. So let's work this out. So A is equals to what? A is equals to 10 divided by 0.8, which is 12.5. Now, why was this necessary? This was necessary because we had to find out the sum to infinity. Now, what's the formula for sum to infinity? It's A over 1 minus R. So put the information together and you will have your answer. Sum to infinity is equals to 12.5 over 1 minus 0.8. Okay. So let's see what do we get. 12.5 divided by 1 minus 0.8. So we're looking at 125 upon 2 or 62.5. So sum to infinity is equals to 62.5, and that's it, fellas. That's your answer. Okay, so fairly easy question, but do not get carried away. Don't think that all questions are going to be this easy. You will come across some challenging questions as well, as we'll find out shortly. So let me know what your thoughts are on this question. Easy, medium, difficult, insanely difficult. Let me know. I'm going to pick some other easy question to solve. Sir, what can be done if a calculator gets dead in the middle of exam? Anyone who'd like to answer that on my behalf? Because I really don't know what to say to that. Well, one thing you should always do is keep two calculators. Okay, so that's a start. Keep two calculators with you and you'll be fine, inshallah. Okay, so here's a question. Let's solve this. All right, this is from October-November 2017, paper 12. Okay, let's see what it says. This is only a part of a certain question. So let's see. Okay, so here we are. How long are you going to stream for? Probably 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, hour and a half at least, maybe 2 hours. Okay, I want to solve a decent amount of past paper questions. Okay, so the sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic progression is just a minute. Okay, yeah, never mind. The sum of the first n terms of an arithmetic progression is so and so. Find the first term and the common difference of the progression. Okay, so how can we do that? This is how we can do it. Notice the formula that you have is the formula for sum. Okay, so you got to keep your eyes and ears open. This is not the general term formula. This is the sum formula. So from which year should we solve math past papers? Recent years. Always start from the recent years. Okay, recent years. Then if you're talking about A-level math, then do it till 2020, then go back, do the other variants, and then do 2020 and backwards, okay? Because 2020 is when the syllabus was changed. All right, so basically the formula gives us the sum, okay? So if you think about it, sum of the first term is technically going to be equal to what? Is technically going to be equal to the first term also. Okay, so whether it's the sum of the first term or it's the first term, they're both going to be the same. So here's what I'm going to do. In order to find out the sum of the first term or the first term, we're just going to plug in n as 1. Okay, so let's do that. S1 is equals to 1 upon 2 into 1 into 3 into 1 plus 7. So that means the sum of the first term is going to be 1 upon 2 into 10, which is equal to 5. Okay. Now what that means is, that means the first term is equal to 5. Okay. Now, if I find out the sum of the first two terms, okay, let's see what we can do with that. So let's find out the sum of the first two terms. 1 upon 2 into 2, then open the bracket, 3 into 2 plus 7. All right, let's see what do we get. So I'm just going to use a calculator over here. 3 into 2 is 6. 3 into 2 is 6 plus 7. So we're looking at 13. So that means sum of the first two terms is equal to 13. Now how does that help? Here's how this helps. Now pay close attention. Here's what we know so far. We know the first term. We know the first term is 5. Okay, so here's T1. Now, while we don't know what the while we don't know what the second term is, what we do know, however, is the sum of the first two terms. Okay, we know that the sum of the first two terms equals to 13. That means we can now find out the second term. All we got to do is 13 minus 5, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 8. And now that you have the second term, that means this is what the arithmetic progression looks like. Okay, you can find out the common difference by simply doing 8 minus 5. So that means the common difference equals to 3. Okay, what did we have to find out? We had to find out the first term. We just did that. Let's put a box around that. And the common difference. So we figured that out as well. And that's it, fellas. That's your answer. So what are your thoughts about this question? Medium? All right, that's what I thought. I would consider it to be a fairly easy question. Considering how difficult questions we have lined up for today, I would consider this to be a fairly easy question. Yep, I agree with you, Taha. Okay, so I think as far as easy questions are concerned, that's about it. Let me see if I can find... Okay. This question is very similar to the question we just solved. Okay, the very first question we solved, so I'm going to skip this. Okay, you guys are very welcome to try this out. I'm going to skip this and let's do some medium difficulty level questions. Okay. Okay, this question we are going to solve towards the end. Let's do this question. Walaikum Assalam. So this question says the first, second, and third terms of an arithmetic progression are k, 6k, and k plus 6. Find the value of the constant k. I am from pre-O level. Sir, can you make videos of mensuration? I already do have some videos on mensuration, Abiha. Have you seen those? If not, I'd suggest you check those out. So, if this is an arithmetic progression, that means there should be a common difference. Okay, so the difference between the first two terms should technically be equal to the difference between the next two terms. Okay, so T2 minus T1 means 6k minus k, which should be equal to k plus 6 minus 6k. Okay, this equation will help us find out the value of k. So this is 5k equals to minus 5k plus 6, which means 10k equals to 6. All right, solve this like you would solve any other equation. So k is equals to 6 upon 10, which means k is equals to 0.6. And this, by the way, I should mention, is from May, June 2022, paper 12. So it's a very recent question. Zohan, yes, you're right. I miss having you guys in my class as well. When are you going to take S1? S1, inshallah, I will start very soon. Okay? Very soon, inshallah. Okay, part B. Part B says 0.6 or 3 upon 5. Yes, it doesn't matter how you write it. Part B says find the sum of the first 30 terms of the progression. Okay, sum of the first 30 terms of the progression. So in order to find out the sum of the first 30 terms, we're going to need the formula. Okay. So let's see what the formula is so we can see what it is that we want and what is it that we already have. 2a plus n minus 1 into d. Sir, do you teach further math? No, I don't teach further math. So we need the first term, we need the common difference, okay? So now that we know what k is, if you remember, the progression was k, 6k and k plus 6. K, 6k and k plus 6. Okay, now that we know what k is, we know that k is equals to 0.6. We can actually find out what these terms are. 0.6, 6 into 0.6, that's going to be 0.36, 3.6 actually. Let me just check. Don't want to mess it up. 3.6, yeah. And then k plus 6, which means 6.6. Okay. So clearly you can see that the first term is 0.6, and clearly you can see that the common difference is 3. Okay. So now that you have the first term and the common difference, you can find out the sum. Yes, AdMath students can do this. In fact, if you want to really improve AdMaths, you can practice from AS Math, and AdMath questions will then feel like a piece of cake. Although there will be some questions which have further trigonometry, which you might struggle in, okay, which won't be covered through A-level math, AS Math past paper questions. Anyway, so sum of the first 30 terms, that means 30 upon 2, 2a, which means 2 into 0.6, plus n minus 1, which means 30 minus 1, so that's 29, into d, which is equal to 3, and there you go. Let's work this out, see what's what. Yeah, this will be uploaded, don't worry about it. 30 upon 2, 2 into 0.6 plus 29, on YouTube only, don't worry about it. So 1323 is the sum. Okay, so that's the end of this question. As always, what are your thoughts about this? Okay, while you guys are telling me what your thoughts are, I just need to make a small adjustment. Okay. Sir, please reply. Reply to what? Sir, is A-level math harder? AS level. Yeah, of course. A-level math is because A2 math, so obviously it's harder than AS level math. Okay, the higher you go, the more difficult it becomes. Binomial expansion. Okay, let's do binomial expansion next stream. Okay. All right. So let's do some other medium level questions before we start doing the hard and the insanely difficult questions. Okay, I really want to do some word problems today. Okay, so here's a question. This is from May, June 2022, paper 11. And the question is question number 2. Okay, let's see what this is. The 13th term of an arithmetic progression is 12, and the first 30 terms, the sum of the first 30 terms is minus 15. Find the sum of the first 50 terms. So it's a lengthy question, but it's not exactly a difficult question. Okay, let's see what's what. So you're given the 13th term. The 13th term means D13, which is equal to 12. Okay, so 13th term in terms of A and D is basically A plus 12D, which is equal to what? Which is equal to 12. Okay, so this is your first equation. At this point, you can probably see where we're going with this. You have 2 unknowns, so that means you need some more information before you can find out the value of A and D. Yes, I do plan on doing a function stream as well, where we'll cover the concepts. Okay, I do plan on doing that. Okay. Now, sum of the first 30 terms sum of the first 30 terms is minus 15. Okay, so sum of the first 30 terms is minus 15. Again, we'll have to form an equation. So 30 upon 2 into, let me write this over here so I have more room. 30 upon 2 into 2a, which means we don't have the value of a, plus n minus 1, which means 29, into d, which is equal to what? Which is equal to minus 15. Okay, not according to me, according to the question. Sir, can do a live stream on circular measure also. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. I will be streaming very often.
I found this on the web for can you do a live stream on Circle? Check
Okay.
it out.
For some reason, Siri got activated. Okay, sorry about that. Anyway, so 30 upon 2 is 15 into 2a plus 29d. Okay, equals to minus 15. So let's simplify. Let's cross this out. Let's cross out the 215. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at 2a plus 29d, which is equal to minus 1. All right. So now we have the second equation. Okay, so what are we going to do with the two equations? We're going to solve simultaneously. Okay, so let's solve the two simultaneously. So I'm going to save some time here and solve it simultaneously using a calculator. If you don't know how to do that, you should. Okay, you should know how to solve two equations simultaneously using your calculator. It's going to save you a lot of time and it's going to save you a lot of doubt as well. Okay, you'll be more confident about your solution. So here's what we're looking at. After solving them simultaneously, I'm looking at a is equals to 72 and I'm looking at the common difference to be equal to minus 5. Okay, now that you have the first term and the common difference, next is you need to find out the sum of the first 50 terms. So we need the formula for that. 50 upon 2 into 2a, which means 2 times 72 plus n minus 1, which means 49, into d, which means minus 5 in this case. All right, so let's see what's what. Let's work this out, see what we get. 50 upon 2 into 2a, which means 2 times 72 plus 49 inside a bracket. Make sure that you put the brackets correctly. You don't want to do everything right and then in the end realize that just because you didn't enter your enter the equation correctly, you've gotten the incorrect answer. So it's minus 2,525. And that's it. That's your answer. Thank you, sir, for explaining transformations. Are you talking about O-level math transformations or AS math transformation? You're welcome anyway. I appreciate that. Okay, so I think enough of medium level questions. How about we do some difficult questions? Sir, I heard they wanted to talk Mars for doing simultaneously. Okay, where did you hear that from? Where did you hear that from? Okay, let's do this question. This is a hard question. O-levels, all right. So, thank you for taking out the time and saying that. Good luck for your exam. Ask on Koli. So let's do this question. This is, let's see what this question is. This is from May, June 2020, paper 11. So it says here the sum of the first 9 terms of an arithmetic progression. Okay, so let me answer that question for you. Had you heard it from an important source, you would have remembered it. But chances are you didn't hear it from someone eligible enough to make a rule out of it. Okay, so you have to show your working. You can be smart about what working you show and what you don't. Calculator is there only for you to check your answer. Okay. Is there any content on your channel related to? No, I'm sorry, Rehan, not yet. But you can check out Sir Zain's channel for that. He has a lot of. I think he has the entire syllabus. I'm not sure about S2, but for P3, yeah, he does. Anyway, so I'm going to solve this question now. Pay close attention. So it says here, the sum of the first 9 terms of an arithmetic progression is 117. The sum of the next 4 terms is 91. Find the first term and the common difference of the progression. Okay. So what do you think can possibly go wrong in this question? Read the question and tell me what do you think can possibly go wrong. Still, I'm finding equation of circles difficult for me. I've tried to practice, but some questions are. So some questions will always be difficult. Okay. So, but make sure you have the concepts figured out. Okay, I have videos on it. Just make sure that you have all the concepts figured out. Okay. All right. So anyone would like to answer my question? What can possibly go wrong in this? One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, now you guys have probably figured out what can possibly go wrong. Not adding sum of the first 9 terms with the next 4 terms. Yes. So basically, this is the catch in this question. This is the catch in this question. The question says the sum of the first 9 terms is 117. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, nothing too complicated there. In fact, let me use a different shape. Yeah. Sum of the first 9 terms is 117. So that means S9 is equals to 117. Okay. Then the question says the sum of the next 4 terms. Okay. So we don't really have a formula for the sum of the next 4 terms. Okay. So when the question says sum of the next 4 terms, that means starting from the 10th to the 13th term. Okay. So 10 to 13 inclusive or 4 terms. You might think for a second that 10 to 13 isn't that equal to 3. No, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so that's 4 terms. So sum of the next 4 terms is 91. So that means what you're given is basically this. Now what you can do is the following. You can combine the two. Okay, you can combine the two, and through that you can find out the sum of the first 13 terms, which is equal to what? Which is going to be equal to 208. How 208? Basically 117 plus 91. So that means sum of the first 13 terms is equal to 208. Now how does this help? How does this help? And what's wrong with this? The thing is, you can't really form an equation using this piece of information. Okay. This, however, you can use this and form an equation. Okay. So that is why make sure that you keep your eyes and ears open. You don't want to end up thinking that sum of the next 4 terms means that it's sum of the first 4 terms. Okay, that's not the case. All right, so we can form an equation using sum of the first 9 terms equals to 117. That means 9 upon 2 into 2a plus 9 minus 1, which means 8d, is equals to 117. Now, if you cross multiply, this is what you're looking at. 9 ones are 9, by the way. 117 divided by 9, I think, is 13. Yep, it's 13. So 2a plus 8d, cross multiply, equals to 26. So that's your first term. Okay. And then you have the sum of the first 13 terms, which means 13 upon 2 into 2a plus 12d is equal to what? Is equal to 208. Now let's see if we can cross multiply here. 208 into 2 divided by 12. 208 into 2. Sorry, divide by 13, not 12. So we're looking at 2a plus 12d to be equal to 32. This is our second term. And now you can solve these two simultaneously to find out the first term and the common difference. So solve simultaneously. So if you solve them simultaneously, you have a is equals to 7. In fact, let me just solve it simultaneously. 2a plus 12d equals to 32. 2a plus 8d equals to 26. Subtract the two equations, so a gets eliminated. We have 4d, which is equal to 6. That means d is equals to 1.5. Then let's find out a. 2a plus 8 into 1.5 equals to 26, which means 2a plus 12 equals to 26, which means 2a is equals to 14. Yeah, and a is equals to 7. So these are the two answers. Let's put a box around them, and that's it. That's your answer. All right, thoughts on this question as always. When are you doing a studio tour? I've been thinking about doing that, but thing is, there's not a lot to see. I mean, so I don't know what all the hype is about. How to use calculator to solve them simultaneously. So I have lots of videos on this. You can just Google. Okay, just Google the. Sorry, just go on YouTube. Write down your calculator model, and with that, write down what do you call, and then write down simultaneous next to it. So you'll find the answer to your question. Okay. Okay. Let's do some word problems. Okay. Let's do some word problems and see what's what. So this is a question. It's a word problem question. Let's see what it says. It's from May, June 2020, paper 11, in case you're wondering. So it says here, each year the selling price. How many significant figures? 3 significant figures. Always 3 significant figures. If it's a non-exact answer. Okay, so this question says, each year the selling price of a diamond necklace increases by 5% of the price the year before. Okay, what does that mean? 5% increase. Are we talking about an arithmetic progression or are we talking about a geometric progression? Question for you guys. Yes, we are talking about a geometric progression. Okay, so remember this. Whenever the question says a fixed, so if something is increasing or decreasing by a fixed value, that means it's an arithmetic progression. Okay. Every time the question says that it's increasing by a fixed percentage, that means it's a geometric progression. Okay. And if it's increasing by 5%, so how do you increase something by 5%? Here's how you do it. You multiply it by 105 upon 100. So that means this is what your common ratio is going to be. Okay, so let's write this in decimal form. That means R is equals to 1.05. Okay, so let me write this down over here. So if the question says that it increases by R percent, that means it's going to be 100 plus R upon 100. Okay, if the question says that the price decreases by R percent, in that case it's going to be 100 minus R upon 100. Okay, now the question says write down the selling price of the necklace n years later and hence find the selling price in 2008. Okay, so with word problems you have to be extremely careful. Okay, why so? Let me show you. So basically 2000 technically is the first term. Okay, which means 2001 is technically going to be the second term. Okay, which means 2002 is going to be the third term. All right, now if you want to find out the selling price of the necklace n years later starting from 2000, okay, that's what the question says. The selling price of the necklace was 2000 in the year 2000 was $36,000. So what is the formula for calculating the general term? The formula for calculating the general term, this is what you have to find out. You have to find out n years later. Okay, so the first year the price is going to be 36,000. Okay, the year after the price is going to be what? The price is going to be 36,000 into 1.05. We're going to multiply it by once. The third year Okay, the third year, that means 2 years after, 1, 2, it's going to be 36,000 into 1.05 square. Okay, so what will happen if you get to the nth year? If you get to the nth year, that means the price of the necklace after n years is going to be, we're going to use the general term formula, which is AR raised to the power n minus 1. So that means after n years, the price is going to be 36,000 into 1.05 to the power of n minus 1. Okay. All right. Then the question says, and hence find the selling price in 2008. Okay. So how will I find out the selling price in 2008? From 2000 to 2008. How many years is that? From 2000 to 2008 is basically equal to 9 years. So that means n is equals to 9. So how many years are we talking about? We're talking about 9 years. Okay, so let's scale it down. From 2000 to 2005, how many years is that if you include 2000 as well? So you have 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, and 2005. So from 2000 to 2008, that's not 8 years, that's actually 9 years. Why? Because you're including 2000 and you're including 2008 as well. So just subtract and in the end add 1. Okay, that's how you count inclusively. So the price after 8 years is going to be 36,000 into 1.05 to the power of, sorry, this will be T9. The price after 8 years will be T9 into 9 minus 1, which means 8. Okay, so let's work this out. See what do we get? 36,000 into 1.05 to the power of 8. So we're looking at 53,188, which if you round off correct to 3 significant figures, which you have to, that's going to be 53,200. And there you go. That's your answer. Okay, thoughts on this question? Part B. Let's see what Part B says. Part B says the company that makes the necklace only sells one each year. Okay. Find the total amount of money obtained in the 10-year period starting in the year 2000. Okay. So technically, what do we have to find out over here? We have to find out the sum. That's it. We need to find out the total amount. That means we need to find out the sum of how many terms? We need to find out the sum of 10 terms. Okay, so what's the formula that we're going to use? What are my thoughts on this question? I think it's word problems are always challenging, especially when you have years in them. So a r raised to the power of n minus 1 over r minus 1. Okay, so sum of the first 10 terms is equal to 36,000 into 1.05 to the power of 10 minus 1 over 1.05 minus 1. And let's work this out, see what do we get. Make sure to use a calculator, don't try and work this out mentally. I don't think anyone can possibly do this mentally, but even if you could, I would suggest use your calculator. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. We're looking at, first let me write down the non-rounded off answer. That's 452,804.1313. And then if you round it off, it's going to be 453,000, correct to 3 significant figures. All right, there you go. That is your answer. Thank you, Ibrahim. Appreciate it. Sir, do you support studying at late night? Definitely early morning. Definitely early morning. I am a morning person myself, and I've been a late night person as well, but I prefer early morning, anytime. Thank you, Nafe. Appreciate it. Okay, so here's a question. It's a word problem question. And it's an interesting question. Let's see what it says. And this is, by the way, a February-March question. So it says a woman's basic salary for her first year with a particular company is 30,000. At the end of the year, she also gets a bonus of 600. For her first year, express her bonus as a percentage of her basic salary. Okay, so this is like the calm before the storm. Okay, it's a very easy question. You might think this is an O-level math question. So express her bonus as a percentage of her basic salary. What's her bonus? Her bonus is $600. What's her basic salary? That's 30,000. So we need to express 600 as a percentage of 30,000. Work this out, see what you get. 600 divided by 30,000 into 100. So we're looking at 2%. Okay. All right, now the next part. The next part says, at the end of each complete year, the woman's basic salary will increase by 3% and her bonus will increase by 100%. Okay, so here's something interesting. That means we now have an arithmetic progression as well as a geometric progression. Okay? Why is that? Because for the basic salary will increase by 3%. That means it's a geometric progression where R is equals to 1.03. Okay. As far as the bonus is concerned, the bonus is an arithmetic progression where the common difference is 100. Okay, and by the way, it's not just the common difference that we know. We also know the first term, which is 600, because this is the bonus she gets the first time. And the same case with the basic salary, we know the first term is 30,000. Okay, because this is her salary the first year. All right, so writing down key information is very important. Okay. Then it says express the bonus she will be paid at the end of her 24th year as a percentage of the basic salary paid during that year. Okay, let's see. Let's read it again. Express the bonus that she will be paid at the end of her 24th year. Okay, so I'm just going to color code this. Okay, bonus, I'm going to color code. I'm going to turn it into green. Yeah. So that means for the bonus, we now need to find out what? We now need to find out the 24th term. Okay, so how can we do that? The 24th term is going to be equal to A, which is 600, plus n minus 1, which means 23, into the common difference, which is equal to 100. So that means T24 is equals to 600 plus 2300. So we're looking at 2900. So this is the bonus that she will get in her at the end of the 24th year. Okay, so far so good, I hope. Then let's talk about the basic salary. We need to express the bonus as a percentage of the basic salary. That means now we have to do the exact same thing for the basic salary. We need to find out the 24th term. But do keep in mind that the basic salary is a geometric progression. Okay? So the 24th term for this geometric progression can be found by taking the first term, 30,000, into R, which means 1.03, to the power of n minus 1, which means 24 minus 1, or simply 23. You can do it directly as well. So 30,000 multiplied by 1.03 to the power of 23. Let's see what we get. So we get T24 to be equal to 59,207.59. अब क्योंकि ये final answer नहीं है, so we're not going to round it off. Okay. Now here's what we have to do. We have to express the bonus as a percentage of her basic salary. Okay, so what we need to do is this. We need to express her bonus as a percentage of her basic salary. So this is what we need to do. Okay. So what's the bonus? The bonus is 2,900. Okay. What is the basic salary? The basic salary is 59,207.59. Just use the answer key over here. Multiply by 100. And let's see what we end up with. So 2,900 divided by answer into 100. So we're looking at 4.898, which means 4.90%. 4.898, which means 4.90%. Okay. So this was a difficult question. I hope you guys, hey, you don't have to agree with me if you found this easy. By the way, sir, sorry for track. Yeah, I do watch cricket, and if I'm not wrong, Pakistan is out of the World Cup. I mean, unless there's a miracle, but I think Pakistan, for the most part, is out of the World Cup. I say yeah. Qudrat ka nizam. Yeah, not working in our favor. Okay, so wait, did we solve this question? No, we didn't. Hello, Zareen. You helped us in O levels, now in A levels. Alright, happy to do that. Okay, let me. Alright, this is another easy question. Khair, I'm not gonna do an easy question now. Let's find out another word problem question. That I've marked as insanely difficult. Okay, let's do this. This is B part of a certain. Pakistan needs to win by. That's cute. Or chase the given target by. That's funny. I don't see that happening. Okay, just a minute. Let's solve this question. How long is this stream going to be? Well, you can leave whenever you want. This stream, I planned it for an hour, hour and a half max. Anyway, let's solve this. Let's see, what do we have here? Just a minute, everyone. Just a minute. Okay. Yes, Abdullah, I completely agree with you. Part B. Part B says two schemes are proposed. This is part B of a certain question. It's not entirely connected to part A, okay, which is why I'm skipping part A and focusing more on part B. So, part B says two schemes are proposed for increasing the amount of household waste that is recycled each week. Scheme A is to increase the amount of waste recycled each month by 0.16 tons. Scheme B is to increase the amount of waste recycled each month by 6% of the amount recycled in the previous month. So clearly you can see in one scheme it's increasing by a fixed amount, which means this is an AP. Yes, Mahir, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. And scheme B, it's increasing by a fixed percentage, which means it's a GP. Okay. The proposal is to operate the scheme for a period of 24 months. So this probably is N. The amount recycled in the first month is 2.5 tons. So that means this is your first term. Okay, irrespective of whether it's AP or GP, scheme A or scheme B, the first term is 2.5 tons. Okay, so let's write down the information. Okay, let's start with scheme A. For scheme A, the first term is 2.5. Okay, the common difference is 0.16. Okay, because it increases by 0.16 tons each month, sorry, and N is equals to 24. So what do we have to do? We have to find out the sum of 24 months, okay, which will give us the total amount that's recycled in the first 24 months. So here's what we're going to do. S24 is equals to 24 upon 2, 2a, which means 2 into 2.5, plus n minus 1, which means 23, into d, which is 0.16. Okay, so let's figure this out. 2.5 into 2 is 5, plus 23 into 0.16 into 24 divided by 2. So here's what we're looking at. We're looking at 104 0.16. Okay. Now, scheme B. Scheme B, like I said, is a geometric progression where A is again 2.5. Let me make sure of that. Yeah. The common ratio, since it's increasing by 6%, that means the common ratio will be 100 plus 6 upon 100, or you could have directly written it as 1.06. Okay, don't end up writing this as 1.6, it's 1.06. And n is equals to 24, so that means we again need to find out the sum of the first 24 terms in this geometric progression. So let's work that out. S24 is equals to A. Make sure you have the formula written correctly. R raised to the power of n minus 1, which means 1.06 to the power of 24 minus 1 over 1.06 minus 1. So let's work this out. See what do we get. 2.5 into 1.06 to the power of 24 minus 1 over 1.06 minus 1. Okay, so we're looking at 127.04 tons. So which one is better? Scheme A or scheme B? In fact, I don't think we're supposed to make that conclusion. Yeah, we're not supposed to make that conclusion. Okay. But here's the answer. Okay, here's the answer to both that to both the questions. To both the schemes, scheme A and scheme B. Okay. Let's do one more question. And you're welcome. Thank you for mentioning that. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Okay, that's a tough one to pronounce. Shrinik. It wasn't that hard? Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree with you. It wasn't that difficult. Yes, I came to Wales College. That is true. It's very nice of them to invite me as a guest. Okay, I'm trying to look for a difficult question. Okay, let's do this. It's not difficult, but let's see. Let's see what it says. So it says here the sum Sn of the first n terms. In fact, this is also fairly easy. I changed my mind. Sorry about that. This looks nice. Let's do this. The first, second, and third terms of an arithmetic progression are A, 3 upon 2a, and B, respectively, where A and B are positive constants. Okay, so why is the question telling us A and B are positive constants? That means maybe, just maybe, we end up with a quadratic equation which results in two values, and we have to pick which one is going to be our final answer. Okay? India कब आ रहे हैं? पता नहीं, देखते हैं. Let's see. So, then the question says the first, second, and third terms of a geometric progression are A, 18, B plus 3 respectively. Now, this is more of a algebra question. This question will test your algebra skills more than your APGP skills. Why? Because if this is an AP, that means you can form an equation. How? By basically doing T3 minus T2 is equals to T2 minus T1. All right. So T3 minus T2 means 3 upon 2a minus a is equals to b minus 3 upon 2a. So 3 upon 2 minus a is going to be 1 upon 2a. Okay. And wait a minute. 1 upon 2a plus 3 upon 2a equals to b. Let's write this nicely. So this is 2a equals to b. In fact, let's write it further nicely. 2a minus b equals to 0 is your first equation. Okay. And this, by the way, I don't think I mentioned, is from May-June 2021, paper 12. Okay, so May-June 2021, paper 12. Okay, so this is our first equation. And how did we form this equation? We formed it with the help of AP. Okay, we were given three terms and we were told that it's an arithmetic progression. So we used that information to form an equation. Okay. Now, then the question says the first, second, and third terms of a geometric progression. So now we're talking about a geometric progression. Okay, or so and so. Okay, so that means T3 upon T2 is equal to T2 upon T1. So what's T3? T3 is b plus 3. What's T2? That's 18 is equals to T2 upon T1. Okay, so A into b plus 3 is equals to 18 times 18. What is that? 18 into 18, 324. Now, the thing is, we already know what is. I was expecting that both the equations to be linear, but that's not the case. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make b the subject, so b is equals to 2a, and we're going to plug it in over here. So a into 2a plus 3, and let's bring 324 over to the left hand side as well. So we're looking at 2a square plus 3a minus 324 equal to 0. Now let's solve this quadratic equation. I'm going to use a calculator over here to save some time. 2, 3, and minus 324. So here's what we're looking at. We're looking at the first term to be equal to 12. So that means a is also equal to 12. And we're looking at the other value of a, which is minus 13.5. So question told us at the very beginning that a is a positive constant. So that means we're going to go with a equals to 12. And with the help of this, we're going to find out the value of b. So 2 into 12 is equals to b. So that means b is equals to 24. And that's your answer. Okay, so this wasn't that difficult. Part B says find the sum of the first 20 terms of the arithmetic progression. Okay, so now we know what the arithmetic progression looks like. Previously it was a, 3 upon 2a, and b, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Now this means that it's going to be 12, and what's 1.5 times 12? It's 18, I think, but just to be sure, yeah, 18, and then 24. So now we need to find out the sum of the first 20 terms. So a is equals to 12, the common difference is 6. So that means 20 upon 2 into 2a, which means 2 into 12, plus n minus 1, which means 19 into 6. Let's work this out, see what do we get. 10 into 24 plus 19 into 6. So we're looking at 1,380. And that's it, fellas. That's your answer. Okay. So, thoughts on this question? Sir, are you an A-level physics student? Yeah, I did physics in A-levels, but I don't know it well enough to teach. So yeah, sorry, can't help you there. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. All right, we're going to keep it till here only. And in the next class, in the next live stream, let's see what topic we are going to discuss. First part, ek aise nikla. So we formed two equations, one with the help of the common difference and the other with the help of the common ratio. Okay, so like I said, I'll stop here. I will see you guys inshallah in the next live stream. So until then, take care.